السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. ربنا زدنا علما، اللهم فقهنا في الدين، اللهم إني أسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا آمين يا رب العالمين. So here we are with our session number 136, and inshallah we are going to uh, do a quick review of ma that we have covered in our last session, and then we will inshallah learn about few more ma inshallah. So when it comes to ma al-ibhamiya, so when you see ma al-ibhamiya, what does it do? What is the function of ma al-ibhamiya? And I'm waiting for to hear from you, inshallah. Your
Estefania, no? Estefania, you're asking, no?
ibhamiya.
Ibhamia. Okay. That is to clarify the ambiguity, no?
No, it is al-ibham. So we are going to type in the chat box, inshallah. So al-ibhamiya is a type when it is ma al-ibhamiya. So it means that this is a type that is going to increase something in vagueness. The thing that it is going to come after will become more vague, won't remain very specific, right? So that is ma al-ibhamia. It increases al-ibham. Is this clear to each and every one of you? So when I say, give me kitabam ma, right? Kitabam ma, so give me kitabam ma, when I'm putting it like this, just to make it easy and relatable. So when I'm saying kitabam ma, it means give me any book or give me a specific book. What do you think I'm asking you for? Any book, right? Give me any book, okay? Any. So it could be any book. Or when I say, I like akalamma. Akalamma. Aklan means eat any food. Or ta'amamma. So ta'aman, and if I put ma after it, so what does it mean? That I like any kind of food. Does not matter what it is. It can be any type of food, but I will like to eat. I just want to eat, and I'm hungry, and or I'm not. I want to keep it vague. Okay, yes, yes. That is what the purpose of ma al-ibhamia is. It makes an ism more vague. Does it describe, or does it not describe? Does it come after commonism or a properism? Who remembers grammatical ruling of this type of ma? It comes after commonism. How is it labeled? Grammatically, according to the rules, how do you label it? You are going to call it sifa of that commonism. For example, if it is kitabam ma, so what will be the status of ma? Though, because it is non-flexible, it does not show you its status. So I just have to then, ask you girls and you, but every ism has a status. And so in this case, though it is mabni ala sakoon, but it is fi mahalli nasbin. If I say shay'un ma, shay'un ma, so then what will be the status? Rough in status, right? Everyone with me, or is it still very unclear to you guys? It will need a little bit more practice. No, it's not always nasb. It's going to follow the status of ism that it's going to describe. For example, in Quran, mathalamma. So lam with fatha. So it's going to be nasbin status. Okay, it is sifa of that ism. So whatever the status of mawsuf is, sifa follows the same status, right? So it comes up as a sifa. Shay'un ma, yes, it is going to be rough in shay'un ma. Very well done. Now is it clear? So ma al-ibhamiyah makes an ism more vague. Okay. When I give you ma at-ta'ajjubiyah, how do you grammatically label ma at-ta'ajjubiyah? It's always going to be, it is common. Yes, I agree, it is common, but it is going to come in jumla ismiya, and it will stand as Mubtada. It is going to stand as mubtada of Jumla Ismiya, and the fail after it is going to be, what is going to be the fail after it? How will you label the fail after it? It's going to be the khabar. The fail after it is going to be the khabar of this ma. And what kind of a fail, when I ask you what type of a fail I'm expecting to see after ma at-ta'ajjubiya, you are going to tell me it is going to be jamid, fail madin, jamid. Jamid means it does not have any other form, it is just available in one form, right? And we have gone over this concept in our last session, right? But it's always good to review a little bit so that nobody forgets. And when in any class, because I'm also a student of Quran, when my teachers ask me questions, then I try to be on top of the topic. Otherwise, I somehow don't, I lose interest sometimes, unfortunately. So that is why I do not do my sessions without review, because first of all, it helps my students to retain all the information that they have covered, and it also enables them to come prepared to the class. That they know that there's an expectation that whenever we are going to join class, we have to be prepared with the lesson, inshallah. Okay, so ma ta'ajjubiya is going to be your mubtada, and it is when it comes to the terminology, you learned that it is tamma, and the tamma terms come because why we call it ma tamma, because there is no silatul mawsul. It does not need any silatul mawsul. It is complete by itself. It is mubtada. You don't need any silatul mawsul, and also it cannot take sifa as well. There will be a ma that you will come across where you will see the ma is a commonism followed by maybe followed by a fail, and you will call that ma followed by fail as mawsuf sifa, complex mawsuf sifa. However, this ma is in no need of sila. Number one, it is in no need of sila. Number two, it is also in no need of sifa. Okay, I hope this was clear. Ma'ul waqiya or ma'a shay'iyya, where do you expect to see this ma? Ni'ma bi'isa, right? Ni'ma bi'isa. Easy. It's throughout the Quran. If you see any ma after ni'ma or bi'isa, you are going to label it ma'ul waqiya. And I told you to just at this stage label it as the file for that fail. Is this clear to all my sisters? Hmm? Does it refresh your memories about what you covered in your last session? I hope it does. Hmm? Any confusion? Anyone? So when you are seeing ama after ni'ma or bi'sa, these two af'al that are also jamid, bi'sa, ni'ma, and there is a ma after them, you call that ma ma'ul waqiya or ma ash-shay'iyya. You are going to label at this stage this ma as a file for this fail, okay, for these two afal. Okay, you will see them, you will see ma'ul waqiya after ni'ma and bisa. I hope this is clear now. Yes, and you can see my screen. The name is written, right? This is a name, either al-waqiya or you can call it a shay'iyya. Okay, any type is going to work. Okay, the reason I'm presenting to you both names is some books may call it al-waqiya and some may call it a shay'iyya, and I don't want students to get confused about which is what. Okay, so just so that then if the two names are presented to you, that is to save you from future confusion in future. Okay, inshallah. So now let's come back. Another question that I have for you is, if you see ma ash-shartiya, and there is a mudare after it, what will be the status of that mudare? Yes, barakallahu fiqh, it is going to be majzoom in status. Very well done. And this ma able to make one fail majzoom, or it can make two? Okay. Is there going to be always two of all after this ma shartiya, or it can have something else too? Yeah, it is an option. It may not be always followed by two of all that are going to be jasmine status, okay? But it has an ability to make two of all majzoom simultaneously at the same time, okay? Without using any atf. Because if there is an atf, then that is not because of ma shartiya, that is because of the atf, the status is transferred over, okay? When you see ma al istifhamiya, Ma al istifhamia, can you see on ma al istifhamia in one status? Is it always Rafin status, or it can be of any status? What do you think? Very well done. It can be of any status. If it is beaten up by, if ma al istifhamia is beaten up by harf jar, how will you know that this is ma al istifhamia? What happens to ma al istifhamia if it is beaten up by harf jar? If ma itself is beaten up by harjar, it will lose its alif. The alif gets dropped, right? Alif gets deleted, omitted, dropped. Okay, you will see there is mahzoof. Alif is mahzoof. Okay, when you see maul istifhamia and it is followed by a fail mutaaddi, which means it is a fail that can have maful bihi. But there is no maful bihi after fail mutaaddi. What should be the status of ma'al istifhamia? It is going to be nasbin status because it is going to be labeled as maf'ul bihi muqaddam, right? Make sense? Don't think about, will you think about maf'ul bihi muqaddam if the fail is lazim? Like nama or comma, those of all? Will you ever label mal istifhamia, or should you ever label mal istifhamia as maf'ul bihi muqaddam when it is before a fail that can never take maf'ul? So my dear sisters, I want you to understand it very clearly, and we will go through practices, and inshallah remember one thing: you can only label mal istifhamia maf'ul bihi muqaddam when it is followed by a fail that does not have maf'ul bihi mentioned after it, and that fail is mutaddi, which means it can take maf'ul. Okay, when it is lazim, why would we worry about maf'ul bihi then, right? In case of af'alul lazim, don't worry about maf'ul bihi business. Okay, so when you have, remember, and this we went over in our last session as well, that if ma al istifhamia is followed by a marifa ism that is proper, and there can be any reason for it to be proper, how can you label it? And this is on my slide too. It can be mubtada. Is there any other option for this? Remember, we have gone over it in our previous session. It can be labeled as khabar as well. Okay, both will be correct. And if any teacher teaches you that this is khabar muqaddam, it is going to be right as well. But if ma, which is al istifhamia, and it is followed by an ism that is nakira, what will you label that ma? It is going to be only mubtada. Okay, it is going to be mubtada then. Is this clear, my dear sisters? It's a heavy topic, and I think we should do a good review of this, because this class is catering certain students, and it is not that I'm recording a session and I'm putting it on a television. So then I have to follow certain protocols. I cannot repeat, or I have to bring in something new every time to keep people entertained, and to bring something new. And so but this class is specifically for our students, and so that they learn. So I go back to topics as many times as I think my students need. So yeah, for the last, which one? Ma launuha, the ma al istifhamia, which can be either mubtada or khabar, or the one that is followed by nakira. For example, if it was ma launu, there was no ha after it. Okay, ma lawnu, or so if it was noha, then either way was then you can only label ma as mubtada and lawnu is going to be khabar. Okay, is this clear, Sister Farhan? Right? Alhamdulillah. Okay, so you have um, Sister Rabia. Is there any question? Sister Rabia Basri? Are we good? Do you have a question? You can type. You are only going to label ma as maf'ul, ma as maf'ul, as we can see in our slide, only going to be labeled as maf'ul bihi muqaddam when it is followed by fail mutaaddi that can take maf'ulin bihi and does not have maf'ul bihi mentioned after it. Okay, only then you are going to call it maf'ul. In all rest of the cases, it's going to be mubtada, always going to be mubtada in 7 cases. However, when it is followed by proper ism, by a proper ism ma'rifa, then it can be khabar too. You can either label it as mubtada. So, for example, this one, I can, when it is ma lawnuha, I can either call it khabar or mubtada. And lawnuha, if I call ma mubtada, lawnuha is going to be khabar. If I call ma khabar, lawnuha becomes mubtada muakhar. Clear? Yes, it can. This is the case where you can label both ways. This is the only case. Okay, so ma can be either khabar when you call it khabar. When you call ma khabar, then call lawnuha mubtada muakhar. If you call ma mubtada, then call lawnuha khabar. Everyone with me? Type 1 if you all are with me. Okay. So the most common ma that we see in Quran is ma al-mawsula. And what is the status of ma al-mawsula? When we see ma al-mawsula, which status it comes in? Can take any status. It can take any status. Number one question, can it take any status? Yes, it can take any status. Okay, inshallah. So ma al-mawsula can take any status. So don't restrict it to any specific status. First of all, understand based on its position what its role is in any given ayah. It can be anything. Okay, so we went over ma indakum yanfadu. So here ma was mubtada. Wa ma indallahi baqin. Ma, again, in both these in parts of the same verse, ma was mubtada. Okay, then I presented to you that ma can be khabar as well. Hadha ma tu'aduna liyawmil hisab. If you restrict that everything is going to be a rough in status, that is going to be causing a lot of confusion. Okay, you need to determine the role of every ism in any given verse. Okay, so when you determine it can, and the role can be mubtada, khabar, mutalik bil khabar, can be file, maf'ul, naibul file, all this, right? Depending on what sentence we are seeing. So here, the first two sentences are jumla ismiya. In the first sentence, ma was mubtada. In the second sentence, it's a verse from Surat Saad, verse number 53. You are seeing ma as a khabar. Ma al-mawsula is a khabar. Then you see Surah Al-Baqarah, verse number 89. Ma, we have labeled it as file, and it is a file for ja'a, right? It cancelled damir mustatir hua, and it took the position of a file in this verse. When it comes to Surah Al-Baqarah, a verse that talks about magic, here ma came up as maful bihi, so it is fi mahalli nasbin. When it comes to Surah Yunus, verse number 12, how did it come? زُيِّنَ لِلْمُسْرِفِينَ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. So, ma is naibul fa'il. Everyone with me? Okay. Then in our last session, falamma. What should be the falamma? How will we label falamma? Who can tell me from the class? I want answers from the class. Sister Nazneen is asking that what is falamma? So falamma, two words. Fa with lamma, right? Fa with lamma. When you have lamma and you see fail madin after lamma, in that case, whenever lamma is followed by fail madin, it is a condition particle. Okay, it is ismiya, it is shartiya, and it is zarfiya. Very well done. Is this clear, Sister Nazni? Did your fellow students help you? Good? Did they do a good job in explaining? Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So, okay. Now come back to the other types of ma that we have gone over in our last session. Okay, so almost we have gone over the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The all ismiya mas we have covered, right? We reviewed, right? So let's just go to now harfiya ma. So ma al kafa. What is the meaning of al kafa? One that cancels, one that stops, right? One, okay, something that stops, something that cancels. Okay. So where do you expect ma al kafa? You expect it after inna wa akhawatuha, right? Inna wa akhawatuha. You expect it there. And it doesn't, what does it do then? When it comes after inna wa akhawatuha, inna and its sisters, does it let them make any ism mansoob, or it cancels? No, yeah, it does not let it do its action. So it is now, its action is nullified. You see, you see after inna wa akhawatuha, when I taught you inna wa akhawatuha, what did I teach you? Who remembers the basic concept that I gave you? That inna wa akhwatuha attach itself to an ism. They come in a jumla ismiya. They are called haruf nasikha because they come attach themselves to mubtada, and mubtada is not rough in status anymore. Right? That's what you learned in your term 1. That is what you in term 2 as well. Something about it in term 1 and 2, something like that, right? So inna wa akhawatuha attaches itself. They all the haruf attach themselves to mubtada and change its status to nasb. That is why we call them harufe nasikha from naskh, right? Something that abrogates. So here, that action is lost of inna wa akhwatuha when you see ma al kafa after it. Okay, you don't see now inna wa akhwatuha acting on mubtada of a sentence anymore. You will see a mubtada after them, as I gave you an example here. Let me go take you to that. I gave you an example, innama nahnu muslihun. Otherwise, if this inna was in its original, if you would let it do its action, it is going to be innana, right? But there is no innana because ma did not let inna to act on nahnu. Clear? Mubtada is raf in status. Inna could not do anything to nahnu, and we have mubtada and khabar after it. Okay. Similarly, it can attach itself to rubba and certain af'al. At this stage, if you can just remember few of these af'al, that you will be good. Okay, inshallah. When it comes to ma, that is zaida, and this ma is, did it do anything? When you look at this ma, did it do anything other than stopping inna from acting? Innama. It is also, zaida, right? It is zaida. And I see some emphasis as well. So yes, it does emphasize, there's emphasis, there's a hasar there, there is exclusivity there. But it did not do anything. It didn't. It is zaida. Zaida means it not, it's, or let me, take this term away. Let me not call it zaida, because it did something. It still did something, because it has something to do. It's not just standing there. It is stopping Inna from acting, right? So let's not call it zaida. Let's just call it just simply kafa. Okay? Is this um, um, for now? Just call it kafa. Okay? But when you see another ma, which is ghair kafa, and it is zaida li tawqid, what happens after this ma? Does it stop anything from acting on whatever is after the ma? No, it does not. It does not block action of anything. When you see an example here, for example, if I ask you, إِذَا مَبْتَلَاهُ إِذَا مَبْتَلَاهُ, what is the status of this sentence, jumla failure after إِذَا? What is going to be the status? And we have covered it in the last session as well. It's going to be fi mahalli jar's status. Very well done. أَيَّمَ الْأَجَلَيْنِ أَيَّمَ الْأَجَلَيْنِ. So here Ayya and al ajalaini. There is again an idafa. Ma did not, and al ajalaini is majroor because it is mudaf ilayhi to ayya, right? And we covered it in our last session again. Then amma qalilin. Qalilin is jar in status because of an, right? And in our term one, fabima naqdihim, bima naqdihim, right? Ma came between B and Naqdihim, but Naqdi is still jar in status. Ma could not stop harf jar from working on the ism after it. Ma was just zaida, ghair kafa, and was there for emphasis. Okay? Qalilan ma, the same thing. Does not do anything to, when it comes here, you don't see anything after it, but it does not change anything. Okay, so is this clear to all of you? This ma is clear. Do you understand that this ma is there for emphasis, right? From aina can act as harf shart or ism shart by itself, but when we say aina ma, the translation you will notice changes then. Wherever, okay? Haithuma, wherever. Hmm? This ever is coming because there is a ma after, and it is increasing an emphasis. Okay, it is there for more emphasis. Okay, and this emphasis is coming from the ma that is ghair kafa zaida li tawqid. Okay, I hope this was clear to all of you so far, and let's just start the another type of ma, and we briefly went over this ma before, and inshallah, let's see this one. Ma at-tasniya. What is the meaning of at-tasniya? It is two. So it is a ma that is a harf. When you see a harf, do you worry about the status? Can it have any status? I want you to all know it is words of haruf are la mahalla laha min al-i'rab. Okay, they have no status. So if you see this ma, it will have no status. So just a quick review of that. And then where do you see ma at tasniya? This should be very clear to you all, okay? You will see it after damirul ghaib ha, damirul ghaib ha, which is your third person. Third person, okay? Damirul khitab, kaf, which is your second person. Huma, kuma, tuma. These are the three examples of ma at-tasniya. In all these three words, what did you get from ma? What does ma tell you? Dual. The word is dual. It's talking about dual. Tuma, two people are doing something, right? Kuma, you two. Huma, they two, right? In all these three examples, you are only seeing one thing. One meaning that ma is giving you is that the number of people or number of objects is two. I hope this is clear to all of you. For example, أَزَّلَّهُمَا الشَّيْطَانُ. Shaitan caused them to slip. Where is this two coming from, my dear sisters? How do I know that this is here? The verse of Surah Al-Baqarah is talking about two people. In the huma, ma in huma, because ha damir can also have noon mushaddada. Ha damir can also have mim sukoon, hum, hunna, right? But when ha damir has ma tasniya, ma at tasniya after it, then I know that this ma is there to tell me the number is two. There's a difference, right? It is not huma together. It is the ma at tasniya that gave you an idea that the word is talking about two, right? When I give you a word kuma, rabbikuma, so is this meme alif or is this kaf that is giving you two, you two? The ma there, right? You two. Then when I see a word shi'tuma, haythu shi'tuma, what gives us an idea that this is talking about two people? The ma gives you an idea that there are two people that have been addressed here. The two people are being addressed here. Okay, what tells you tum in word tuma, in this tuma, what tells you that the word that we are talking to a second person? There's a second person involved. Ta, yeah, ta'ul file, ta'ul file, ta'ul file gave you an idea that there was a second, there's a second person in a second person involved, but ma gives you an exact number, because this ta damma, ta'ul file, what can be seen after ta'ul file? Who can remind me from their fi'l madin table? What can you see after ta'ul file? Here you are seeing ma at tasniya. It can be tum, it can be tunna, right? So it can be meme sakoon, which will indicate that word is for masculine plural. If there is a meme sakoon after ta'ul file, this ta of tuma, if it was followed by meme sakoon, we know that meme is denoting masculine plural. If there was noon mushaddada, tunna, then we know the word is referring to feminine plural. If and those are the the only two other options that you see after ta'ul file, right? Ta'ul file, when it is referring to second person feminine, what is the haraka on ta'ul file? Who can remember from term 2? Second person feminine kasra. Very good job. When it is referring to first person singular, what will be the haraka on ta'ul file? Nasartu. You have to just go back to Nasartu and you will tell me Nasartu has a sakoon. Sorry, has a dhamma. No sakoon. Okay? Ta'ul file, never with sakoon. Right? Nasarta, Nasartuma, Nasartum, Nasarti, Nasartuma, Nasartunna, Ana Nasartu. Right? Always with a haraka It's going to be fatha when it is you masculine. It is going to be dhamma when it is you two masculine or feminine. However, when it is you two masculine and feminine, we have ma at tasniya after ta'ul fa'il. After ta, which is a pronoun in your past tense, ta is going to carry a dhamma, and however, when two doers are present that are in second person, the ta'ul fa'il is going to be followed by ma at tasniya. So here, haythu shi'tuma, wherever you two want, or wherever you two wish, from wherever you two wish. Is this clear, my dear sisters? And for those of you who have not analyzed their fail madin table the way we have been doing, please go back and to the recordings of either, you can have a small recording where all the pronouns were discussed. That will be helpful too, the attached pronouns. It is on in the short lecture series on our YouTube channel. Okay, so this was something about ma tasniya, which is a harf. All these ma in ma, huma or kuma, this ma by itself, they have no i'rab. The ma is la mahalla laha min al-i'rab because it is a harf that is showing you, that is just denoting the number is 2. Is this clear? Because it is a harf, it will have no i'rab. Okay, now comes your last ma, that is further divided into 2 types, and we will go over it. Ma al-masdariya. Ma al-masdariya. Have you ever learned any harf before in our course that can do a job of that can work as harf masdariya? Okay, we have learned an, and briefly we may have gone over anna. Basically, I have gone over with you example of harufun nasiba an, right? An tasumu khairul lakum, right? And what did we learn there? That these are special haruf. They are going to come in a sentence, and some of them with a fail after them will make an ism. An with a fail after it becomes al-masdar, which is an ism. Masdar is what? Is masdar a harf fail or ism? If you have to put it in any category of words among the 3 categories that you have to deal with in Arabic language, you call al-masdar as an ism. Yeah, it is a word. Masdar generally is described as a word that has an action, but does it have a time? No, does not have a time. It is not a time-bound word. And it's an action word, for example, fasting or to fast. You're talking about an action, right? Person is doing anything. Or for example, eating. It is an action. But eating, is it a time? Associated word? Eating healthy is a good habit? No, right? Eating healthy is a good habit, or exercising is good for health. So exercising, is a word that denotes an action, but there is no time, so it becomes masdar. Okay, keep that in mind. Just like an with a fail after it becomes al masdar al muawwal, similarly ma with a fail after it can act like masdarul muawwal. Okay, can make a compound ism or al-masdar al-muawwal. Ma with a fail after it can start to act like just an ism. Everyone with me so far? When it does act like al-masdar al-muawwal, when it forms al-masdar al-muawwal, when ma is al-masdariya, in that case, ma is a harf and it has no i'rab. However, when ma is together with the fail with which it makes al-masdar al-mu'awwal, that combination will have i'rab. Al-masdar al-mu'awwal together is going to have an i'rab. Yes or no? Make sense? Right? By itself, ma will not have i'rab, but with the fail after it, it's going to have an i'rab, which can be just like what we learned in with an. The same rules are going to apply here. Okay. So how will I know that my ma is al-masdariya? Many students have an issue with distinguishing ma al-masdariya from ma al-mawsula. And this can be a big problem, right? When I know, how can I know that this ma is al-masdariya? I am going to share some tips with you, okay? So that everyone knows how to determine which type of ma am I looking at, okay? What are the key points that I must see? When your ma is al-masdariya, you will see, and some of the Arabs, they will plainly say that if ma is followed by madin, ma al-masdariya comes only with madin, okay? Comes only before madin, which I disagree with. Okay, there are cases when you will see mudare after it. Okay, but mostly if you see fail madin after it, ma can be mal masdariya. You will see it is often beaten up by harf jar. You will see a harf jar before. Are you all getting it? Kama sallaita, kama barakta. And this is we all read this all the time, 5 times, more than 5 times a day, right? Or almost 5 times every day we read the root, right? So the ma that is seen before sallaita or barakta, the fail after ma, what fail are you seeing? Is it madin or mudari? It is madin. It is madin. And what do you see before ma? You are seeing harf jar, right? Harf jar is seen before ma. Another tip, and we'll combine them all together. You will see the same fail before and after the ma. If you see that the fail before ma and after the ma is the same fail, the chances are that your ma is ma al masdariya. For example, when you see here, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ آمِنُوا كَمَا آمَنَ النَّاسُ. Can you see here? Aminu and kama amana. Is there any similarity between the af'al? Believe, you all believe, like people have believed. The same fail is repeated. Right? Anu'minu kama amana sufaha'u. Should we believe like the foolish ones? Huh? The same fail, nu'minu amana. The same thing? Yeah, Surah Al-Baqarah, Juz 2. يعرفونه كما يعرفون أبناءهم. They recognize him or they recognize it like they recognize their sons. The same fill before and after ma. Ma is beaten up by kaf, which is harf jar. Ma is, however, seen before mudare as well. So this ma ya'rifuna, what will be the status of ma ya'rifuna? Who can tell me the status of ma ya'rifuna? Jaran status, because it is al-masdarul mu'awwal, right? Ma with a fail after it act like an ism. Together they act like an ism. But if I ask you, what is the status of ma? What are you going to tell me now? No status. No status. Because it is harf masdariya, right? By itself, no status. لا محل لها من الإعراب. Very well done. But when together with its fail, it is jar in status. Here, the first example. قل ربي ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرة. ما ربياني. What are we seeing here? Ma before fail madin, right? Rabbaya, fail madin, and together the status is going to be, what is the status of ma rabbayani? It is going to be again jar in status. By itself, ma has no status, but together it is going to be, as masdarul muawwal, it is going to be jar in status. Similarly, kama sallaita, again, ma sallaita ala Ibrahima. Here, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad. Kama sallaita. When I say Allahumma salli ala, so salli ala. So what is the fail before ma? Is it not the same fail as sallaita? Send blessings upon Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, just like you sent blessings upon Ibrahim alayhi salam. Same fail before here as well. Allahumma salli ala. So, are these tips working for you, my dear sisters? These 3 tips that you have to memorize by heart. By the end of tomorrow, you must memorize them by heart, because this is going to be, you are going to be presented this ma several times, and you will be making this sometimes the same mistakes. And I will tell you one thing. In all these cases, did I translate ma as what? Can I translate it as what? Like what they nurtured me when I was little? No. So when I was a beginner, you know what I used to do? I would translate stuff. I did not have that many resources at that time, and I did not know that many resources. So, and I did not know anything that I can go on to YouTube and get all these recordings and educational material where I can polish my information. So what I used to do is, and I gave this as a tip to other fellow students as well, that you will notice when you cannot translate ma as what, that ma is dot mausula, that ma is masdariya. That was also another tip. Among the 3 tips, if you want a 4th one, you will notice everywhere, like they too raised me when I was a child, like you sent blessings upon Ibrahim and all of Ibrahim, like Fulisha believed. Make sense? In all these 3 cases, they recognize him or they recognize it like they recognize their sons. And I'm sorry, yarifuna abna'ahum. It's such a beautiful verse of Quran, and love it. So, so here also, did you notice that you cannot put what in translation? So that is a very uneducated tip. It is not a very it's not how you are going to make an educational guess by these 3 points. If you want to make something that is not you are not going to you can just tell people that it's may not be the right way, but this is going to help you recognize your type of mark. Okay. Yes, like is for ka. Ka is translated as like. Yeah, so I hope this works for all of you. Now, this ma masdariya is one type of ma. Then there is a ma al masdariya, that is a zamaniya. When I say a zamaniya, what comes to your mind? Zaman or zaman has to do with time. So we should be polishing our Arabic vocabulary. So in Arab, when you polish your Arabic vocab, you will know that this zaman has something to do with time. Okay. So this al-masdariya is a ma al-masdariya of time. Okay. Here you see the same ruling is going to apply. Ma dumtu hayyan wa awsani bis salahti wa zakati. Ma dumtu hayya. And he enjoined me of salah and zakah as long as I remained alive. So ma dumtu, when you see ma before dumtu, you are going to call ma al-masdariya az-zamaniya, and you will see ma damu, ma with dumtu and the af'al of the same root letter many times. Many times you're going to come across this ma, okay? Label it ma al-masdariya az-zamaniya. So my dear sisters, who have recognized that this ma dumtu hayya is going to be al-masdar al-mu'awwal, what should be the labeling for this al-masdar al-mu'awwal in regards to the words that you had seen? It is going to be nasb status because it has to do with the time, and it is zarf, right? Zarf is nasb status, and we can call ma dumtu hayya as, you can call it mutalik bil fi'l awsani. When did he enjoin him of salah and zakat? As long as he remained, or as long as I remained alive, okay, in according to the context of the, according to the translation, right? So it is your basically mafulun fihi, or you can call it mutalik bil fail as well. Remember, the time you can label it either as maful fihi or mutalik bil fail. Okay. Sometimes, usually you will see the people who have done the Arab of the Quran in the past, and distant past, they will usually label it as mutalik bil and maful, but this is, mutalik bil maful fihi. Some use the terms interchangeably, but some are, they will mostly use mutalik bil fi'l. Okay, mutalik bil fi'l. Both are going to be the right answer as long as you get to the understanding, you get the understanding of it completely. Again, la junaha alaykum in talaqtumun nisaa. There's no sin upon you all if you all divorce the women, malam tamassuhunna, as long as you did not touch them, أو تقرضوا أو تفرضوا لهن فريضة. So this again, as long as, why am I translating it as long as you did not touch them? Because this ma is again al-masdariya az-zamaniya. Again, uridu illa al-islaha mastata'tu. I intend only reformation as long as I have an ability. وَمَا تَوْفِيقِي إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ تَوَكَّلْتُ وَإِلَيْهِ أُنِيبُ. So here, mastata'tu again is going to be labeled as ma al-masdariya az-zamaniya. Okay, as long as I have power or I have ability. Okay, is this clear to all of you? And everywhere where our ism has to do with time and place, the status of zarf is what? How do you label? What should be the status of a word that comes up as zarf? When you were learning takhta, bada, fawqa, all of them are nasbin status because they are details, and the detail is always nasbin status, and so is going to be your ma al-masdariya az-zamaniya, which is going to make al-masdar al-mu'awwal in case of ma dumtu, ma lam tamassuhunna, mastata'tu. Easy or not easy? So far, got it? Alhamdulillah. Okay. Now let me I know it's little okay. Now what happens when there is a confusion, and when there are places where you will see that you can translate your ma as what as well? And that is a case, there is one case for those of you who understand that if your silatul mawsul, if you see something after ma, and that is fi'l muta'addin, okay? That is fi'l muta'addin, but it is not with a maf'ul, okay? And there is no mention of any ayat. Who remembers ayat? Aid is a pronoun that goes back to an ism mentioned before. Okay, aid. Aid, ain, alif, hamza, dal. Aid is a pronoun that goes back to an ism. So whenever I was teaching you complex sifa, or whenever I was teaching you jumla haliya, we were looking for a pronoun that goes back to an ism that the sentence is describing. We, in case of hal, we used to look for a pronoun in a sentence that goes back to an ism, which is sahibul hal. So if you have a condition where you will see ma, and Allah is ever aware of what you all do. Is this the right translation? What do you think? And Allah is ever aware of what you all do. What do you think? Can I call this ma as ma al Mawsula? No? This is Aura? No? I can call it. No? Allah is ever aware. Khabir is one who is always aware, as if he has gone through the experience. So Allah is ever aware of what you all do. It's going to be right, right? It's going to be translated as as Mawsula. But if I translate it as and Allah is ever aware of your deeds, is it the right translation as well? And I don't translate ma there. No? And there is mutaddin without any maf'ul, and there is no ayat that is going back to ma. If I translate it as masdar, is it not, you don't agree with that translation? You don't think it's the right way to do it? Is it it's not justice to the ma? We can do that, okay? You can write it like that, you can translate it like that, and Allah is ever aware of your deeds, okay? Allah is ever aware of your deeds. This one, you know, if you know the previous rules where you see mal masdariya, I think you should be okay with determining the type of mal masdariya in 50% of cases. But I want you to keep in mind, sometimes your ma can be treated either way. It can be treated as mausula, and it can also be treated as masdariya. Okay, there are cases when you have a fail that can take an object and the object is not mentioned after it. In that case, you can treat ma either ways. Okay, and I'm going to stop here. I want you to come back to the nahu and sarf of the verse where you saw Amma and I saw some answers, and I told you we'll discuss it in a later part of the session, but we never got to it. But it led to all these different types of ma. So here I will want you to come back to this dua that we were trying to learn, and I hope most of you have memorized this dua, or if you have not, try to memorize it. Now look at this ma here. وَنَقِّهِ مِنَ الْخَطَايَا كَمَا نَقَّيْتَ الثَّوْبَ الْأَبْيَضِ. There is a ma. Everyone can see this ma. And today you have to, in the last 2 minutes of the session, focus on this ma. Okay? Forget about everything. Now tell me, should it be masdariya, yes or no? It is beaten up by ka. There's a fail before it, and there's a fail after it, which is the same. Nakkihi, nakkaita. Nakkihi, family 2, amr. Nakkaita, fail madin from family 2. Same root letters, right? Same root letters before and after. The same fail. And also, what helps me further is, if there is a fail after ma that has a maful bihi mentioned, that has a maful bihi after it, my guess is it is mal masdariya. And can you translate this ma, my very uneducated tip? Can you translate this ma as what? Like what? You wash the white cloth from the dirt? No. So that tip also helps here too, right? Everyone got it? So nakkihi, the same followed by fail madin, right? Bitana by kaf, preceded by and followed by the same fail. I would not. No, this cannot be. Here, there is no problem. Here, there is no issue. And I was going to cover that in the next session, okay? So that, there is no more confusion because it's already, tons of information for people who are new. I'm going to, inshallah, cover it a little bit again in the next session. So don't be stressed out. If you memorize this table by heart by the end of today or tomorrow, I'm telling you, you'll master it. And before I end the session today, I would request everyone to go over Suratul Baqarah for the next session. Go over the first 2 pages of Usmani Musaf of Suratul Baqarah. Come prepared for your next session with the types of ma. You will see many mas in Suratul Baqarah, and I actually pulled them for you. I thought that we may get some time, but Qadarullah, and all is good. So, inshallah, we will cover them in our next session.